Hi there, welcome to It Takes Two. This is the show where one of us brings the other person on the show a movie they really like or know a lot about. And this week we are talking about Jacques Demy's interpretation of the Charles Perrault story Donkey Skin. I really love this movie, so I want to ask you, what were your initial impressions of Donkey Skin?
So I had never heard of this film specifically before. I know of Demy's other films, like Umbrellas of Cherbourg, very famous, but I'd never heard of Donkey Skin. So when you recommended it, I deliberately did the most that I could to learn nothing about it before I watched it. And so when I sat down and it was this amazing Technicolor masterpiece, visual masterpiece, I was really, really pleased by it because I watched something like that and the entire time I was thinking this is just what I want Disney live-action remakes to be, because it was perfect fairy tale, down to the usage of the French chateaus, the costumes, the color, even the in-camera effects with the high frame rate and the slow-mo and the easy editing tricks. It was perfect for me. I think narratively it's really bizarre. I think the instant that the father was like, oh, my daughter, she's super beautiful, she's gonna be my wife. I was like, what is happening here?
Dieu, qu'elle est belle. Vous la cachiez, félon. Quelle douceur, quelle pureté, quelle grâce. Voyez la ligne de cette épaule. Qui est-ce?
Votre fille, Majesté.
L'amour se porte autour du cou, le cœur est fou.
But I also was like, okay, this is what fairy tales are. Disney has sterilized them to the point where we don't even recognize what they were originally, Cinderella's about people, the stepsisters cut their own toes off to try and fit in the glass slipper, so... no, I really loved it. I really enjoyed it.
He does a really excellent job of addressing the sinister undertones in that fairy tale in particular. I think just in general that Donkey Skin is such a great subject for Demy to attack because he can really dive in deep into the costumes and Technicolor, which I think is camp in Donkey Skin. I think it's camp. There are just some of the costumes in Donkey Skin are just so extravagant, some bordering on the grotesque. I love it. But also considering where Donkey Skin fits in the rest of Jacques Demy's filmography, it addresses non-normative sexual transgressions, sure. I would say. A lot of his movies are about queer fantasy or at least just non-heteronormative fantasy. I think Donkey Skin, the father-daughter relationship, is really emblematic of that interest that he has.
Ma chère enfant, ce serait une grande faute que d'épouser votre père. C'est très simple, il faut le décourager sans le contredire.
Mais je l'aime.
Je sais que vous l'aimez, mais je vous l'ai déjà dit, vous confondez les amours.
Il me presse et je dois lui rendre réponse demain.
La situation mérite attention. Mon enfant, on n'épouse jamais ses parents. Vous aimez votre père.
I wanted to ask you about the music, because part of the reason I love Donkey Skin and just so many of Jacques Demy's movies are the music. What did you think of the score?
I enjoyed it. It didn't stick out to me like that. There was some of the songs, the actual sung songs, that I really enjoyed. I wasn't a huge fan of the love theme that carries through the entire film. I appreciated that it was coming back and it was a musical motif, but it wasn't I don't know, it wasn't as swelling and beautiful as I wanted it to be, and that's personal preference. But no, I did enjoy the music. I think for me it was really visually was what I latched onto, because I love Technicolor. I've loved it forever, and so seeing a movie use it so well, like perfectly, down to their dying horses, red and blue.
Yes, those poor horses.
I know, but it was just gorgeous and lavish, and the costumes were also amazing. And you said that about the costumes. Do you have a favorite costume in the movie?
Ooh, I really love the dress that Catherine Deneuve wears that looks like the weather.
I agree.
Oh
That's
my
mine
gosh.
as well.
And it's such a, I don't know exactly what it is, but it's a clever, really a clever visual trick where they somehow mapped like a passing blue and cloudy sky onto this.
I think it's
amazing,
literally
elegant
just green
gown.
screen, because
You
they
think?
couldn't have done blue screen or anything like that, because there's so much goddamn blue in that castle.
Yeah.
The people are literally painted blue. But I think when you look at the dress, you can kind of tell it's like a green screen dress that they've like chroma keyed sky onto. But I agree, that's my favorite. It's just, the worst is the moon one that comes after.
Yeah,
with the
lame.
polka dots.
Catherine
Come
Deneuve
on.
should have said no, send
Yeah.
that back.
I'm not putting that fucker on.
Yeah, no, I love the costumes, and then also close second is the prince's red costume.
Yes,
He
with
prances
his
around in the
thigh-high
forest.
boots.
Oh my God, yes, so fantastic.
Do you consider this a children's film?
Oh,
Because it's a fantasy, it's a fairy tale,
it
but
should
it
be.
also...
It should be, I think, and I think it does something that not enough children's films, or at least films that address fantasy and the fairy tale, do, which is emphasize female pleasure. And
I agree with that. Okay.
Yeah, because
And agency, female agency.
Yes, absolutely. I think that's like central to like almost all of Jacques Demy's movie. So
Yeah.
it should be a children's movie. And ignore the incest. I mean, that can be explained.
I think
away.
having that kind of complexity for children too is really something that should be done more, because you know, we have movies like the Disney movies that are just, especially the modern ones, just kind of erase a lot of the complexity. But this movie had complex motivations. It had kind of dark moments, but they weren't so dark that like a young child would like latch onto them. A young child could easily glass over that and not understand. Or like the idea that the fairy godmother is having a relationship with the king, or has
right,
had a relationship with her in the past.
The fairy godmother who looks like Jean Harlow.
Yeah, and comes down in a helicopter at the end. Yeah. So I think it's a good children's movie. I think there's no reason why a kid couldn't enjoy it. I think it looks so amazing, and it's a great fairy tale movie, so why not?
You hear that, America? Instead of taking your kids to Frozen 2, go see Donkey Skin.
Yeah, Podan.
All right, thanks guys for watching. See you next time.
See you next time.